Now, this story is another reason why you cannot look at people and say, hey, because this person is melanated, then they are for us. Because for generation, some of the worst enemies used against our communities have been other melanated people. And so these people right here are angels of chaos. But before I get too long-winded on this, take a look at this story.
Tonight, Grand Rapids police are closing a cold case left unsolved for nearly 50 years. 13 on your side's Nathan Lee has details.
But I'm no longer a victim here. I am triumphant.
At 12 years old, Irma Major Shaw was molested by her stepfather, Tommy Lee Hills. At 24, she testified against him in court. Now, nearly 50 years later,
You didn't win, and I am the victor.
she closes the case.
I feel very grateful that I can go when that time comes to glory, but I will go with a level of knowing that this was resolved and it was closed.
Hills was originally convicted of first-degree criminal sexual conduct in 1979. On the day of his conviction in West Michigan, he escaped. He was found in Indiana and sent back to Grand Rapids, where he was sentenced to 20 to 40 years in prison for his crimes.
There was just a disconnect.
But due to an error in paperwork, when Hills returned to an Indiana penitentiary, they let him go with no time served.
Never to be seen again by Grand Rapids authorities.
The break came in 2023 when Shaw sent officials a detailed report of Hills' genealogy, tracking him to a family in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where they learned he had been shot and killed.
I shared those pictures with Miss Shaw, and she confirmed that that was Tommy Lee Hill. He had changed his name and been living in Pittsburgh from about 1980 to 1983.
Shaw said even though the pain never leaves, this is a story of hope.
I know that other victims would feel probably just like me, grateful, but even more importantly, they would sleep better. They wouldn't have to look over their shoulders.
Finally putting a bookend on Shaw's story of perseverance.
And so I want to encourage victims to know that there is hope and there could be justice, and so don't give up.
And Nathan joins us live right now outside the Grand Rapids Police Department. And Nathan, how did Shaw stay so strong?
Yeah, Juliet, Shaw said that during the investigation, she had to reserve a piece of herself. But once she finally heard the news, she said she was able to be free. Shaw said that she had found a piece of herself that she had lost. And now it's back, knowing that the man who hurt her nearly 50 years ago isn't going to hurt anybody else. Juliet.
Nathan, thank you for that live report.
Now, as I look through the media, I noticed that many news broadcasters, many news platforms talked about this story. It is great marketing strategy. You know that the melanated woman has always been a wonderful marketing strategy for them. They like to use her face. And many of us don't notice that. So you think they would let such an opportunity like this one pass to show that here, this melanated man has been terrorizing your community, and we are the one who resolve it. Look at all of those non-melanated people who surround her, and she feels safe. So we should not allow people like this man, that wicked, evil person, discourage us. We should find a way to really divide ourselves from these type of people so that the world can know, and so that the innocent children could know that there are many of us melanated men who care for our community, our boys and girls, our parents, our family, our community, and will never do such a thing. In fact, we will deal with people like this. That way they don't always feel the need to have to run to other people for help. You know, they don't have to feel the need to run to the wolves for help. But that is a whole nother subject. I don't want to get too deep with this. But the bottom line is, people like him is not a representative. People like him does not represent us in any way, shape, or form. Just as we had people who look like us, who work with oppressors to enslave us and to oppress us to this day, for him to take a 12-year-old girl, he was supposed to be her stepfather, to rape her and to impregnate her, falls in the category of the most evil and wickedness, especially knowing the roots and history that this melanated young lady and her relatives had to go through. So kudos to who really dealt with him. Kudos to whoever dealt with him. People like that needs to be dealt with.